This is Haley, a suitcase rocket engine being demonstrated for the very first time to a select audience in August 2019. Back then, I was lucky enough to get an exclusive with Nick Green from PFI Aerospace, and we chatted all about getting kids excited about the space industry. Hi, I'm Josh Keegan, and welcome to this episode of The Space Down Under, where I shine a light on Australia's very active and ever-evolving space industry, including those people who work tirelessly behind the scenes to make space aspirations possible for everyone. In June 2019, I managed to get an interview with Nick Green, and he generously demonstrated the rocket engine that could be fired on school grounds, as well as the upcoming Haley suitcase rocket engine, which was still under construction at the time of filming. In this episode, I managed to get some time in Nick's now very busy schedule, where we sat down to talk all about his new title, what has been happening over the last year, COVID-19 and the impacts it's actually had on building rockets, what's happening with Skydance, and last but not least, the importance of Australia's role in the global space industry. There's also a moment in there when Nick and I geeked out, so stick around until the end. I've included all of the timestamps, so if you want to skip around and miss the geek out session, I won't judge. If you're new here, please click on the subscribe button. And whilst you're here, take a moment to check out my Patreon page at patreon.com/Josh Keegan. It's time to grab a cup of coffee, or at least your favorite beverage, and let's get started on an actual face-to-face interview. So I'm talking today for Nick Green from PFI Aerospace, and Nick is going to be telling me all about what it is he is now doing. We've met previously, for those of you who are playing at home, and Nick and I have actually spoken over a year ago now, and so I thought it would be appropriate to actually catch up with Nick. So Nick, what is it you are up to now? I understand you've got a new you got a new title.
I do. So last time we talked, it was General Manager of Defence and Aerospace Special Projects.
Yeah.
For the lot. Now it's just CEO of PFI Aerospace.
Oh, wow. Okay. So what does that mean exactly?
PFI has started a new company.
Yeah.
Which is called PFI Aerospace.
Yeah.
And its primary role is to act like a arrowhead into industries PFI is too cumbersome to take into. So defence, aerospace, space industry globally.
Wow.
We can be a lot more agile where PFI can't.
Right. So does that still mean you manufacture things here in Australia, obviously on the shop floor that I've seen before?
Yeah, so PFI Aerospace will always be using PFI core as its manufacturing.
Oh, okay.
We're not planning to have machines. We might have advanced machines like 3D metal printers, that sort of thing, but we're not going to have the vast manufacturing behemoth that is PFI. It's not worth setting it up twice.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
So anything that PFI core can do day to day, they'll be doing. If we have to do something fancy that isn't really a cost out of PFI, we'll be doing it ourselves, or reaching out to other people.
Oh, right. Reaching out to other people like who?
Subcontractors.
Oh, right.
So PFI technically gets what's classified as first right of refusal.
Yeah.
So if they decide, no, it's not really in our warehouse, but we need someone, we'll find someone.
Oh, okay. Excellent. And so what do you have going on at the moment that's related to space? What do you have in the works that obviously he can publicly talk about? Because there's a lot of stuff he told me off camera that was really awesome.
It's definitely watch this space.
Yeah, watch it. Always. All right. So, but I mean, last time we met up, you showed me the rocket engine that could be fired on school grounds as a technology demonstrator and all that sort of stuff. And then shortly thereafter, he also showed me the suitcase rocket engine, which actually goes by the name of Haley. Haley.
Hybrid all-inclusive learning initiative.
Hybrid all-inclusive learning initiative.
HAILI.
Oh, okay. Excellent. So what's happened since last time we met?
Well, on your last bit of footage, you obviously saw Amber, which is sitting over in the corner over there. She's the larger motor, which we've fired a number of times in quite a few different schools. Still functioning, still good as ever.
Yeah.
The footage you got of Haley, which was the smaller motor being quite frankly, put together on the end of a desk.
Yeah, it was.
She's now fully operational. We've produced 15 of them so far.
Yep.
We're about to start a production run with about 50 more.
Oh, wow.
That should be happening within the next 2 months. So by January next year, we have a number of contracts being worked out through TAFE Queensland and a number of different schools to run this out a lot broader.
Oh, wow. Excellent.
So those 50 motors should be operational in various aspects of society next year.
Oh, excellent. It's on everyone's mind, and so it'll be on my mind as well. Has COVID-19 impacted anything you've been doing?
Well, it stopped us.
Sorry,
Just stopped us for 2 months. So mid-March through to April, we pretty much didn't do anything. It was scramble on deck, try and keep PFI operational.
All right, yeah. So PFI Aerospace was still going, except that you had to dedicate all the resources and yourself into actually taking care of PFI manufacturing.
Yeah, so technically PFI Aerospace didn't exist at that point.
Okay, yeah.
But part of the fact that Queensland has come through this fairly well,
Yes.
we felt confident that starting the company was the right step in the right time.
Yep.
So we've done that since then, and we've only expanded since. We've put on 4 new people total.
All right.
We're planning to put on 2 more shortly if we can find the right skill sets. And growing that further to working directly with Northrop Grumman.
Oh,
in
right.
some areas I can't talk about.
Always. So you actually have a contract with, as we said in the previous video, you've got a contract with Northrop Grumman. What does that mean exactly for PFI Aerospace?
Yeah, so the accurate phrasing, we have a global supplier number, Northrop Grumman, and we have an MOU to work towards some more advanced space research and development programs. So the contract we're working towards, so the MOU forms the initial part of the contract, and that's about as much as I can say about it.
You can't go any further.
I genuinely wish I could say more, but it's the nature of the beast. These things are competitive contracts for Australian companies, including the prime. So Northrop Grumman is obviously competing against Boeing and other people. They all have a vested interest in keeping things quiet, and not to mention ITAR and all the other complexities that rockets bring in, that security programs, and the list goes on. The complexities that go into this is just not a matter of being an Mason thing, it's also all the rest of it. So one of the main things we're hiring for is paperwork. So being able to get the right forms filled out and to maintain the right reporting and all the rest of it is actually the hardest part of the job, believe it or not.
Administration is the hard part.
It really is.
So
I can make anything. Do my paperwork, that's not my forte.
Yeah, mine either. So I certainly understand you there. So what about the last time we talked? There was also going to be an education program as well with Haley. So what's happening with that? I mean, you said that you were signing deals with or looking at contract deals with TAFE. So what else is happening? Is there anything you can talk about?
Yeah. Publicly? So TAFE, they're planning to do what's called taster programs for schools. We haven't finalised that contract yet, but I have no doubt it'll get through. So about 30,000 kids next year should be at high school when they do their taster program to work out if they want to do trades, that sort of thing. So we'll be making rocket motors as part of that program. Wow. So it's all funded by the state school program for these kids to go and do it. TAFE is going to have these rocket motors in those classrooms for them to pull apart, put back together and fire up.
Oh, they're going to fire them? Wow.
Well, wouldn't you want to?
Yeah, of course. Me, I'd love to see that.
And you've seen it, they're not that complicated.
Yeah, no, exactly.
And this stuff is for school age kids, so we're talking 14-year-olds.
Yep.
It can't be at a level that... Obviously, the space industry is complicated, and I do try and make light that anyone can do it, but you've got to start somewhere. This is about encouraging as low a level as we can get that's still functional, and then getting pretty much anyone to have a go at it. And we think we've hit the nail right on the head about accessibility, cost versus still cool factor, right?
Yeah, because that's exactly what you need to actually get people interested. So last time I was here as well, Nick was also alluding to something called Skydancer. What is Skydancer? What's happened with that?
Yeah, so it got shut down, just like everything else.
Yep.
We are back into production with it, which is, in essence, the next step.
Yep.
So if we look at Haley being step 1, so TAFE's high schools. Amber is high level TAFE, so we're talking about trades level, actually 4th year type trades.
Yep.
And then the next step beyond that is then go to university graduate type level. That's what Skydancer fits into. So it's an actual working rocket, so it flies. So Haley is 30 kilos of thrust.
Yep.
Amber is 350 kilos of thrust. Skydance is 1.8 ton of thrust.
Wow.
Yeah, big jump.
Yeah, that's a big jump.
Probably it's about 8 times each time. So
Yeah.
and Skydancer represents pretty much the largest flight capable version that is these hybrids that we've been making.
Yep.
That you can get straight off the shelf.
All right.
So using standard size valves, standard size bits of electronics, everything's standard. So
Yep.
to go much beyond that, you have to start completely rebuilding everything. And again, Australia doesn't really have the industry to supply into that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But we also don't want to because we want the cost to be as low and approachable as possible.
Yeah.
So having university students do this, it can't be 500 grand a rocket. It's just never going to work.
Yeah, exactly.
So the program we're working on, it should be about 150,000 for the rocket.
Wow,
which
that's
is
cheap. Yeah.
It's quite cheap, but the launch cost, which is the fun bit, of
Yeah.
less than 10,000.
Oh, wow.
So that means that this is not space type rockets.
Yeah, okay.
They're very much straight up, straight back. Black Sky Aerospace does this sort of stuff all the time.
Yep.
Hybrid tech though, so we're starting to get a little bit more intricate,
Yep.
solids, but still very much similar capability. The trick though is put them in front of the schools, university students, and ask them, okay, this is working.
Yep.
Improve upon.
Yeah,
play with,
okay.
Go forth, multiply, which university students I'm sure are good at. So.
Yeah, let's not go down that path.
Yeah. So I have bits of it here.
Yep.
Sitting behind me.
Because that's what I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you what was that sitting behind you. So what is that?
So this is the main valve slash oxidizer distribution
Yep.
manifold for Skydancer. So it's going to sit right on top of the motor.
Yep.
It's a little bit complicated to go into, but in essence, it's no different to what's in Haley and Amber.
Oh, right.
It's just a big valve that elects oxidizer into the combustion chamber.
And that's a big valve.
Big valve. Big one there, but we're not using the big one.
Oh, okay.
Didn't end up needing the flow, so it's all about
Yep.
how much oxidizer you can get into the combustion chamber per second. So
Yeah.
this varies for 18 seconds.
Yep.
It's about 110 kilos of nitrous oxide in those 18 seconds.
Yep.
Which is about 6 to 8 of the large NOS bottles in those times. So every 2 seconds it's getting rid of one of those bottles.
Yeah, and I'll have to remember to do that right next time. The voiceover. I got it wrong last time. Really wrong.
We saw Amber, I can fire that 6 times on one of those bottles.
Oh, wow.
Whereas this is burning 6 in the whole.
Yeah.
So it's a big difference.
Yeah.
And the cars, Fast and Furious, they did a little squirt in the engine.
Yep.
It's literally just a squirt.
But, yeah.
Where these are burning kilos and kilos and kilos of it.
So what's the approximate height of something like Skydancer? What's what altitude can it go up to?
The simulations we've done,
Yep.
and she's heavy, not designed to be efficient or anything.
Yep.
It's about 45k,
Oh, wow.
roughly.
Yeah, and this is just for university students to take up whatever.
Well, it's higher than a weather balloon.
Yep.
But it sits in the realm, which you and I have talked a little bit about.
Yes.
Where it doesn't fall too heavily into the space agency's purview, so it starts to minimise some of the issues with paperwork and a few other things.
Yep.
It still sits well in the range of CASA, so you don't have to do as much work to try and launch them on a regular basis, basically.
Right.
If we were going much more than that, the amount of, again, I'm hiring people for paperwork, the amount of paperwork you have to do would make it almost out of the run. Forget the money, it just
Yes.
too much work.
Paperwork, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So do you have anything in the works at the moment that's bigger that you can talk about clearly? I mean, obviously, is there anything that you're working? Because last time I was here, you showed me what was going to be Skydancer, and obviously Skydancer is moving quite rapidly in terms of rocketry and all that sort of stuff. This is quite a rapid pace. So, is there anything bigger you've got planned?
There is, but I don't know if I can talk about it. So our school program is going to be over 2 years.
Yep.
Haley is the first 18 months of that. There's actually a second part to that, which I haven't talked to anyone about.
Oh, okay. And you're not going to talk to me. So no exclusives.
Yeah, when it starts, we'll definitely be back.
Oh, excellent.
And really, it's just more of the same. So it's growing what we currently have to make sure that it's self-sufficient, and then moving on to the next step. So if we get these 50 motors out into schools next year, which there's no reason why we shouldn't really, then that'll be the impetus to turn a lot of that money back in on itself, expand that out, and now we're just self-sufficient. We're not relying on PFI core to maintain what is in essence quite an expensive hobby.
But it's a cool hobby to have.
I don't mind saying that it's a bit of a hobby. I mean, I do work for a living, people would think, but I have a lot of fun too.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. You've got to love what you do and do what you love.
I love my job.
Yeah, I can tell that.
Everyone in this room loves their job.
Yeah.
It is honestly very exciting. Like, you've heard some of the stories which we can't talk about.
Yeah.
The stuff that's going to be happening over the next 2 years, it's not world leading in any way, shape, or form. Like, we're not going to be reinventing anything that Hawaii hasn't seen before.
Yeah.
But for Australia, it's really going to set the pace of, okay, how does Australia get involved? What can we do? What is Australia capable of doing today? And what should they be working towards within a 2 to 5 year time frame? And what, challenges that's going to bring across? And they're significant.
Yeah.
It's not. We can't step into the global space economy overnight. There's just no way.
So just on that, what are some of the challenges that you can openly
No, we can't talk about that yet.
Yeah,
because the process is not secret, right?
Yep.
So one of the biggest hurdles that Australia doesn't know is skill base. Now,
Yep.
a number of companies have talked about this. We certainly have the engineering capability, but the variance between what is classified as Earth-based engineering to what's space-based engineering, there is a definite step forward. So we have to learn how to space qualify, basically.
Yeah.
That skill set is not something we can bring from the States very easily. ITAR restricts a lot of that information. A lot of documents I have are all redacted out of the wazoo. But that means that we have to get engineering, we have to sit down and actually try and nut through and build from scratch the understanding of the process. Again, lots of paperwork. But practice, so it's all about R&D.
Yeah.
Build something, break it, repair it, go again. Just constantly iterate through thousands of different concepts until you get to something.
Heard that before.
Yeah.
It sounds like fail fast, fail forward. I wonder who that is.
Well, but the point is, that's basic principles.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And
Those principles of engineering. Exactly.
Just don't try and be the new fancy wheel.
Yeah.
Get the wheel.
Yeah.
Then try and go forward.
And that's the thing, we need to actually get the wheel first. We need to get those fundamental first principles
Right.
nailed down before we can actually move forward.
And this is, in my view, the principal argument for Australia doing launch.
Yep.
If let's say we're a Formula One racing car company.
Yep.
So we're the last country in the world to build one. Let's say it's that, right? And we go up to the, start line, whatever. I can't watch a lot of sports.
Yeah, me either. I'm more of a rocket nerd.
I'm always at work. So we're that new team. Now we might have really fancy electronics, we might have a really good driver, we might have really good aerodynamics, and a whole bunch of other things. But let's say we can't change tyres on our own car.
Yeah.
But we keep going to the other teams to say, can you please change our tyres? We need this to be done, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
They're always going to be looking at us like we're not taking it seriously. We're not a true team. What launch does is get us to that level where we've got all the basics nailed. We understand what dealing in space environments like. We have engineers and people that come and understand safety programs, all the rest of it. That's what launch does. It's very expensive.
Yeah.
It doesn't get any financial outcomes. But on a globe stage, now we're talking about actually playing at a similar level. We're on the same playing field
As everybody else.
because everyone else does launch.
Yeah, exactly.
And they see it as a right of entry.
Yeah.
So when you try and talk to, any suppliers overseas, they're always looking at us like, well, let us know once you actually get serious about this stuff and we'll start to deal with you, which is difficult.
Yeah.
Right? Now, we can build rocket motors. Like, I build rocket motors. They're complex.
Yeah.
We dumb them down as much as we can. But at some point, someone in Australia has to launch a rocket
Yeah.
from Australian industry to really, before we can take it seriously. It's just that simple.
Yeah. Okay.
And I wish it was different. But I also understand the analogy that they're seeing it as a bit of a test.
Yeah.
if you can't do that, we'll keep launching your satellites, but we're not going to be buying the satellites because we have our own satellite manufacturer. Where's the currency?
Yeah. And plus all the restrictions that you alluded to, like ITAR and things like that, which is, they can't actually share that because it's under those acts. So sharing that knowledge and information, it's hard to come by.
So that dictates we have to start
from scratch.
We have to do it ourselves.
Yeah.
So even if someone,
which is the Australian way, really.
It's a challenge.
Yeah, correct.
I like the idea, right?
Yeah.
But we can't even employ someone from overseas, someone that's made liquid rocket motors that we plan to do here. We can't even bring them here to do it because the information in their head is restricted by that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
wow.
The legislation works that they can't write a book, they can't write an email, they can't come teach someone here, they can't do any of that because technically they've signed a security act over there.
Yeah.
And it's all restricted.
Yeah,
so the other part of that problem is while we haven't stepped up to that plate and we have all these restrictions, America's not prepared to open up their borders to allow information out of the way.
Yeah.
So we can't go work for SpaceX, for example, because we don't know the technology. And for an Australian to go over there and work, they would learn that. What's stopping them coming back here and teaching it? So that barrier works both ways. So until we do it ourselves, they're not going to invite us over there. So we can't work for SpaceX anymore.
Wow.
We work for Tesla, which I wouldn't mind either, to be honest. But we can't work for SpaceX.
One dream at a time, mate. One dream at a time.
Yeah. So we're thinking about doing, missions to the space station or other things like that. We're not included because we haven't done it.
Right.
So again, this all falls back. We don't have a change cars on tire.
Yeah.
So they're just looking at us like we're not being serious yet.
Yeah. Okay.
So we've got to do it. At some point we have to do it.
Yeah, and which is why I imagine this is here. It's because we need to actually develop that.
This is nowhere near.
Oh no! I know that, but it's a start. It's on the pathway.
It's trying to show the right people and get the university students thinking about it.
Yeah.
So starting from scratch, that they'll develop the tech that every country already has.
Yeah.
To then be able to do the launches to orbit and other things like that on a regular basis. Just that it's got to be every day.
Yeah.
Not launching every day, but it's just got to be everyday capability.
Yeah, correct. Which we already have, rather than going out to buy it.
Well, yeah, we buy it now.
Yeah.
It's the same way of going to a Formula One team and hiring someone else to change our tyres. It's like, okay, fine, we've done all the rest of it, sure, but we're just not doing that bit. It's just, I think it's a genuine mistake.
Yeah.
But I also know it is a very passionate push by a lot of people in Australia to make that happen.
Yeah.
I'm sure it will.
Yep.
I don't know what sort of time frame. There's launch facilities being announced and other things, which is fantastic. But unfortunately, where we sit at the moment, the financial issues and a lot of other things, it's slow.
Yeah.
You see what happens?
Yeah, exactly. This is fascinating. This is
Do you like
awesome.
it?
Yeah, I love it. I want one.
So the fun thing about that is the 42
Yeah.
answer lucky.
Because that's everything. Of course. Douglas Adams. So talking about the exciting things that are happening in the Australian space industry, focusing on that in particular, the Australian Space Agency is doing a lot of things towards the moon to Mars, all that sort of stuff.
The advanced program.
Yeah, the advanced program, all that sort of stuff. So, just what are your general thoughts about how the Australian space industry is moving forward under guidance of the Australian Space Agency?
Yeah, so post-COVID, obviously, everyone's always talking about it.
Yeah.
Any sort of initiative that's going to start those sort of things and start to say, look, if we're going to get out of this, we're going to start skilling up all that.
Yeah, correct.
Fantastic.
Yep.
No one's ever going to balk about that. There are obviously some complexities around how this is going to be rolled out, but federal government programs always hard to manage at the start. I'm sure in 5 years' time we'll go look back and go, well, that wasn't too bad.
Yeah, exactly.
So they did do a great thing, which is they've shifted it from being 50-50 co-paid to 50-25.
Right.
Which makes it a lot easier for companies to get involved, like itself. We'd love to be. We're not too sure if we fit just yet, which is very hard.
Yep.
But we do really hope that it becomes something where we can step into the realm to start working with the global space industry and be a part of the return of man. Artemis, twin sister of
I know.
Apollo,
That'd be awesome.
and first woman on
On the moon, yeah.
Well, the return to the moon is about setting up the right location.
Yeah, correct.
It's about finding water and other things for resources, but testing the equipment that we're going to use for base, exactly.
Yep.
So there's a whole program that's very well documented. Definitely something Australia should be involved in because
Yes.
remote asset management plus in situ resource utilisation.
Yep.
Trying very hard not to use it. Australia is very good at that sort of stuff, and we
Yep.
should play a bigger role.
Yep.
It's definitely where if Australia's industry is interested in getting involved in this, those are the two areas you should really dig into, which is basically automation systems of various types.
Yeah, we seem to be really skilled at that at the moment, like AI and automation and all that sort of stuff. We're all being led by, the man who's building starships and things like that. He's got his mission to get to Mars.
You can't build space without it.
Yeah, you can't. You really can't. It's just absolutely everywhere. And then we're all fine with that.
Yeah. It's
Love you, Elon.
It's actually, honestly, he's done more for
Yeah.
the global industry than anyone in history.
So do you think Australia will be involved, can be involved in his efforts to get to Mars? That's where the question I was leading to. I guess that's why I get really impassioned. Like I can see us on the path to the moon, and we're joining everyone else on the path to the moon. But the path beyond that is I know we'll be involved, but I'm just not sure what that would look like. And do you think we have a place in that in going further exploration to deep space?
The biggest issue there,
Yeah.
guys know, we can't go work for SpaceX at the moment.
Yeah.
Until that can shift in some shape or form, we're going to have trouble.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that he doesn't need very highly skilled people, which we have an abundance of.
Yeah.
It's not his rule.
Yeah.
These are federal government rules.
Yep.
And global. So it's not dictated just by America. To be really clear, it's not America's fault. These are just global rules dictated to stop very, rogue entities basically from doing anything untoward with information that quite frankly could hurt a lot of people.
Yeah.
So I actually don't have a problem with laws.
Yeah. Neither do I.
Yeah.
Never had a problem with it.
No. But that then falls back to us to work through that process and to get on the other side of it. The sooner we get on the other side of it, well, yeah, I think it's quite possible, and we should be being a part of that. Whether we will on the time frame, I think he's aiming for 2030. I think was the first manned mission.
Oh, I'm pretty sure it was sooner than that. But anyway, yep.
Well, no, he's doing supply missions for
Supply missions.
equipment and other things.
Yeah,
I think
from
2026.
2024 or 26. It just depends what he tweets.
Yeah, this week.
Yeah, this week.
But that said, he's done everything he said he was going to do.
Yeah, correct.
So even if
Well, don't bet against Elon is my tagline.
I wouldn't.
No, I'm either. He's just doing what he's intending to do.
Well, yeah, if we want to do fanboy Elon for a sec, he built 2 industry companies that any individual one, everyone says is suicide to go into.
Yeah, correct.
And he did them both at the same time during a global recession.
Yep. That's it. There's nothing else to say. There's nothing else to
So
say.
I don't care what your opinions are on it. You've got to give him some respect on that fact.
Yeah, correct.
I understand that he's been controversial, but then we go down to the accomplishments he's actually getting to and where it's going to lead humanity globally.
Correct.
It's undeniable.
Yeah.
And it's just that simple.
Yeah.
So when we talk about where is he going with Starship, you can't get to a point where you think he's not going to achieve those goals because track record.
Yeah, correct.
And if he achieves what he's planning to achieve, everything anyone is doing today in space is wrong. Starship breaks everything.
Yeah, correct.
And I actually I was talking to the Queensland government a little bit about this to try and explain how damaging Starship is in a good way.
Yeah.
The payload bay for Starship, I think it's 18 metres by so many metres around with so much pure payload. I forget the numbers, I don't want to describe myself. I have to write it down somewhere. But you can fit 8 Rocket Lab rockets in the cargo bay.
1,000 cubic meters.
Yep. It holds just enough weight to be able to carry fully laden 8 rockets. The price to orbit that Elon's tweeting is $2 million for those rockets to orbit. That is 1/6 the value of a single Rocket Lab rocket for 100 kilos to orbit. So those Rocket Lab rockets in orbit could then pretty much go anywhere in the solar system.
Yeah,
If it was an essence, 1/6 the price of a single rocket.
it's insane.
It really hurts everyone
Yeah,
in a good way.
in a good way. Yeah.
It's going to force the industry to take some serious looks at itself, try and work out how to streamline this. We're talking only industry. Government's got to get out of the way, got to get the regulation out of the way.
Yeah.
It's got to become everyday business.
Yeah.
Because if he's successful at what he's talking about, that's 100 people or 100 ton of equipment to orbit. We're talking on-orbit manufacturing. We're talking just everyday, literally shuttle programs. Not shuttle, but
Yeah, I
shuttling for bus type programs.
Yeah.
Where people, instead of FIFA, will be going to orbit. And just like, the whole Star Trek building ships in space.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
Yeah, exactly.
And as a kid, my heart flutters.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I mean,
Every-
sign me up, Scotty,
Yeah, I haven't done a live stream yet with any of the testing, but I've watched Everyday Astronaut, and yeah, that's me every single time they hop one of those things. It's amazing, just absolutely amazing.
The Raptor engine.
Oh, I know.
You could do weeks of just discussion about that.
Yeah, exactly.
With technology.
Yeah,
It is
correct.
just 330 bar.
Yeah, it's mental.
Yeah.
It's mental when you go through
Full
it.
flow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, as I said, this is nowhere near it. That's what I'm getting at. Like, and that's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
But
But this is on the path to where we need to be, and which is actually creating the interest in it, so we
crawl,
can actually
walk, run.
correct exactly that. Exactly that.
If we don't do it in that order, we're going to fall off a cliff. And,
Yeah.
but we're at a very slow pace, which is actually okay in some ways.
Yeah.
But we should be doing the other things, like we said, if we want to get away from space, at least break down some other barriers and try and open up the industry a bit more.
Yeah, correct. All right. So the last question I have, I guess more than anything else, because I'm sure people will be curious, is: are you guys hiring, and what are you skills are you looking for? Are you looking for someone to document things on YouTube? Because I know you don't.
Always happy to have you back.
Yeah, I know.
We are always looking for people.
Yeah.
Primarily looking for extremely wide base of skills
Okay.
because we can't afford to have a lot of people.
Yep.
So multi-skilled people is pretty much critical. Extremely enthusiastic. So these like yourself,
Yeah.
you literally ooze the opportunity.
Well, that's something I've never been called before. Oozed. There you go.
You know what it is. Like,
Yeah, I know what you mean. Someone who is passionate and excited and gets fired up about space as soon as
It's
they
actually not that hard to find.
No.
But then I need the backgrounds and other things. It
Yeah.
becomes difficult.
Yeah, correct.
And it is what it is. But we're
Yeah.
working on a lot of programs. The whole STEM program we're working on is to do exactly that. We believe that this is a 10+ year time frame.
Yeah.
I want kids getting excited today so that as I grow this, I have the pool of people to start keep drawing from.
Oh, you're doing this to build a pool of people that you can use.
Why not?
Wow.
Isn't that
Wow,
right?
that's one way of doing it. That's awesome.
We can't find the right type of person.
Of course. And that's the thing, is it goes back to what you were saying earlier, which is you need people in house to actually do it inside our country, because you can't hire it from overseas.
I can't know.
Yeah.
But we need extremely creative,
Yeah.
problem solved, resilient. I mean, I could list them all.
Yeah.
They've got to be extremely capable of working in a team, high, intense,
Yeah.
extremely difficult, demoralizing. But I also know that we are growing this industry. I
Yeah.
need that talent to start coming up.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be going anywhere. This is definitely long term for me. This is my
Yeah.
life for the rest of whatever it is going to be.
Yeah.
So what does that mean in 5-10 years? Well, if I do what I'm supposed to be doing, I need 100+ people.
Correct.
So
Yeah. We need to get it from
where are they coming from?
Yeah. Exactly. And you're creating that too.
Well, we see it's odd, but we see, and this is a little bit kind of off topic, but we see schools as producing a product. Now, their product is highly employable resource of skills, in essence.
Yeah.
Now, that's not a detriment topic to the students, because really, the better the product, which is them, the
Yeah.
more likely they are to have very successful careers.
Of course.
So this is about if all of us, industry, governments, schools, public, can get on the idea that we need to make the best, highest quality thing as we can. Well, that's only good for everyone.
Yeah, correct.
But if industry isn't explaining accurately to the schooling industry what that product needs to look like, well, we're not going to get what we want.
Yeah, correct.
So industry has to step up and get directly involved in making sure that they're requesting the right sort of product coming out the end for what they need. And because we are shifting into what is in essence a new industry, which is high advanced manufacturing through high tech industries, so defence and aerospace, we have to start looking at this at a totally different level to what Australia has done before.
Yeah.
So it's rebuilding education from the ground up for the right outcomes to meet the demand of the future.
All right. Excellent. All right. Well, thank you very much for your time again, Nick. It's been an absolute pleasure interviewing you. And look, I hope to be invited along to some of the other stuff we're talking about off camera.
I love the way you put that on there. So when I agree to it.
No, I mean, look, there's lots more that Nick is certainly is working on, and it's one of those things that I'd like to be there. But yeah, it's certainly always been a pleasure. It's always interesting to come and have a chat to you and to see exactly where you've come from, given that the Suitcase rocket engine is now called Haley, sorry, get it wrong every single time, called Haley, and you've got Skydancer, and you've got everything going on in the background, an education program. I think Nick from PFI Aerospace is going to be the one to watch. Thanks again, mate.
No problem.
If you like this interview with Nick, please let me know in the comments below. I have placed all of Nick's details below, as well as all of those about PFI Aerospace. Nick is on the lookout for people with skills in multiple disciplines who are as excited, as enthusiastic about the space industry as me. Remember, I ooze. If you like my favourite beverage mug, then please head on to shop.joshkeegan.com, where you can find this and other merchandise like this. Also remember to check back frequently, as I'm busy creating new designs for the space down under. If there's anything you'd like to see on joshkeegan.com, please let me know in the comments below. If you work in the Australian space industry, I'd love to chat with you. Please reach out and get in touch. If you like this video, please remember to hit the subscribe button and also hit the bell so you are notified each time I upload a new video. I have lots more coming up that I don't want you to miss out on. There's more around aerospace, drones, technology, and of course, coffee. If you like the content, please check out my Patreon page at patreon.com/JoshKeegan. The support of my patrons allows me to continue to delve more deeply into this space down under. Thanks very much for watching, and remember, stay caffeinated.